I want to talk about crimes and misdemeanors. This is overall just a really sad movie. It's about a man who is a very prominent person. He's a doctor, and he has a family. He lives in Manhattan in the 1980s. Overall, he has what many people would think is a very prosperous, very good life with family, wealth, friends. And at some point in his past, we're told that he takes on a mistress who he calls Dell. And his name is Judah. And then at the point where we are as viewers in the movie, he decides that he wants to end things with her. And the conflict starts when Dell decides that she's not going to let that happen. So the character Judah, in his mind, he feels he has everything to lose from this, and he needs to make the problem go away. And as the viewer, I'm watching to see what's going to happen now. Is Judah going to go through the most extreme way of dealing with the situation? Is he going to use all his resources, his wealth, his power to just eliminate Dell as a person and therefore eliminate his problem? Because he has the ability to do this. And it's kind of tempting to think that maybe at some point he's not going to, that he's going to fess up to it, that he's going to remember the lessons that his religious father taught him, and he's going to own up to it, and he's going to do something better than hire a hitman to kill his mistress, because he is unwilling to part with any of anything that he feels is worthwhile in his life. Because as he sees it, it's not a risk he can take on. Unfortunately, now this is a spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the movie and you want to find out what happens, don't listen to me from this point on, because I'm going to talk about it. And the sad thing is that he decides to go through with hiring a hitman to just eliminate this woman, and therefore eliminate what he sees as the major problem in his life. It's just, the whole thing is just tragic. There's a whole other part of this movie with Woody Allen and these other things going on, but I don't think that's really memorable to anybody. It's kind of like a sideshow. Doesn't even really need to be there in this case. Maybe it's just like a comic relief to what's just a really tragic situation. I get really drawn into this movie. The acting is just unbelievable. Like, you can really feel the emotion, especially on Dell. She's just a woman who's given, as she sees it, she's been in a relationship with this man, and she feels that she should get, that their relationship was real, and that Judah should be with her, and that their real relationship, she believed a lot of the things that he said to her, and she's not going to take it anymore. And we're watching the wheels turn in Judah's head, and it's like, I feel as the viewer, I'm kind of like within his thinking, because there's some point where he sees himself as a victim even in this situation, that it's not just for this woman to jeopardize everything that he has. So he's even trying to find a way to justify what he's about to do. He says at some point he has no choice. And so we're really watching somebody who, you could say, he had it all, and he just had to have more. And then when something came along that's his mistake, that because of his actions, that now it's everything that he has, that he enjoys, is jeopardized as he sees it. And maybe it's not even really all jeopardized. It's just that he doesn't want any of it to be jeopardized. He doesn't want the possibility of that he's going to take the most extreme action. It's just, you can judge him whatever way you see, but the tragedy in this is unbelievable, because really we're seeing just the person who gets killed. Dell is the closest to a protagonist in this movie, and she's the person who is standing up for herself. There's a very slight line where she says, this isn't going to happen to me anymore. So I get the idea that it's meant that her character, something like this happened to her before, that she was in a relationship and something similar happened. Maybe it was a married man. Of course, it's a fictional character, so we don't know. But she's not going to have it. She's making phone calls. She makes a phone call to Judah's house. She's now threatening him. She knows about some financial improprieties he has. So she's just not going to take it anymore. And Judah really comes across as just the most extreme example of vanity, that he's going to just hurt this person, kill her. And not only that, we're brought into this world where he has this relationship with his brother, who is, he's kind of like the never do well kid. It's also very tragic, the situation with his brother Jack, that we're kind of informed that at one point he was kind of like a kid. We're told he was like a kid that had potential, but ultimately became a criminal, became somebody who lives in the underworld. While Judah is this very well-respected doctor. And I get the idea that it's meant to be seen that Jack, he doesn't even really think about, Judah doesn't even think about Jack much. But then when he needs him to take care of this woman, all of a sudden now he needs Jack's help, and he wants Jack to call his contacts in the underworld to get a hitman to kill Dell. And there's a lot of little signs of just the very the world that Judah has lived in. Like when Jack calls Judah and his wife picks up and says, Jack wants to talk to you. He doesn't even think about who it is. He's saying, who's that? And she says, it's your brother. So there's these little subtle signs about Judah as a person. And I think it's meant to be seen that the Woody Allen is showing him as a person who on the outside, to the outside world, to the people who are not the viewer, the people who aren't really seeing who he is. It's probably, I don't want to be the judge and jury here, but I think Woody Allen wants us to see Judah as a bad person, that he's somebody who had the proper religious instruction about morals and good and evil, and he's a person who had it all, but the wheels turn in his head, and ultimately he decides to just use his abilities to just eliminate a problem. It's, of course, I know it's inspired by, of course, Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. And so, again, to the outside world, he's this person, a respected doctor, a husband with a loyal wife who entertains these people at dinner parties, and his daughter is getting married. And then again, there's this once we as the viewer, we peer into, we're like, the veil is lifted. We see this as a person who's associating with, he's involved in the underworld, in hiring a hitman to kill an innocent person, and it's all just a phone call away. And he doesn't even deal with he's still separated from it all. He doesn't know the hitman. It's not even somebody he knows. He goes through his brother, who he doesn't even care about normally, to take care of this for him. And it's almost like his brother wants to do this for him because Judah hasn't even paid much attention to him. It's all so tragic and so striking, and it didn't leave me with a good feeling. There's a really great scene from Judah's past, the Passover scene, because Judah is Jewish, and we go back in time at one point to a Passover from his childhood, which kind of shows, if anything, where the kind of like the conflict in the movie between Judah's father, who believes in the morals, he believes in the Bible, he believes that something wicked that is done will be punished. And then he has an aunt who is a nihilist, who doesn't believe in any of these things. She just believes that there's no moral structure to the world. And really, this is such a key scene, because later on it's shown that Judah, he gets away with what he did. So I constantly go back to this scene and think about it, and it's just something deep to think about. Not an extremely fun movie to watch. I'm being sarcastic there. It's not fun, but it's engaging. The acting is great. Check it out, Crimes and Misdemeanors.